Swift end to the violence in Libya.
We begin the news hour in Libya, where protesters are stepping up pressure on the 40-year rule of Muammar Gaddafi. In the past hour, a privately run Libyan newspaper has reported that the Justice Minister has resigned over the deadly force being used against protesters. It comes as demonstrations spread to the capital Tripoli in an uprising that has so far cost more than 200 lives. Let's take a look at some of the latest developments in the capital of Tripoli. At least 61 people reported to have died in the capital on Monday. Protesters have been targeting police stations in the capital. Some have been set on fire. There are also reports that protesters are planning to descend on the compound where Muammar Gaddafi is based. Lawrence Lee has more.
Tripoli have only just emerged. They're from the weekend. But what they purport to show mirrors the latest information from the protesters. Banks being looted, police stations on fire, dozens killed. Reports from the capital suggest plans for a demonstration this evening to converge on the compound where Colonel Gaddafi is based. Trouble is expected.
From the cities and the places around Tripoli, they are coming to Tripoli, and the people living in Tripoli all together, they are getting out. And I'm expecting it will be very, very big mosquito this night, because they are trying to surround the AlJazeera place, which is where the leader is living there, and this is the main place for the security people for this country.
Earlier pictures from Tripoli suggest violence but give little idea about who's winning. Gunfire can be heard, but then again recent pictures to come out of the second city, Benghazi, also showed protesters being attacked and hurt. Yet just a few hours later, more emerged, which appear to back up claims by protest organisers that the city has fallen to the demonstrators, who are busy reorganising local governments.
It is no longer under military control. It is completely under the demonstrators' control. We're having the tribal leaders chipping in, everybody's chipping in to try to set up civil committees to run the city. We have already successfully set up a committee to protect the subsidized goods warehouses, which are paramount because they have the flour and grains which are necessary for the bread in the city.
Libya's leader has allowed himself to be filmed in recent days in front of his supporters, but has said nothing. His son did, though, warning in the strongest terms that the man who has run the country for 40 years won't go down without a fight.
The leader, Muammar Gaddafi, is leading the battle, and armed forces are with him, and tens of thousands are coming to Tripoli in his support. We will not give up Libya. We will fight until the last man, the last woman, until the last bit of energy.
Tough talk, but in other places as well, the protesters seem to have weight of numbers behind them. This is said to be the town of Al-Baida, where funerals for dead activists attracted thousands. This place, too, has reportedly fallen. But there's no question that Tripoli now holds the key to Colonel Gaddafi's political survival. Whether his regime has to rely on mercenaries, as has been alleged, which way the army will go, are crucial. It feels like it's coming to a head, though with two sides in this fight, it's certainly a different situation to Tunisia or Egypt. Worse could follow. Lawrence Lee, Al Jazeera.
Well, let's take a closer look at where the unrest is happening in Tripoli. Here's the capital, and that's Green Square. Now, that was the centre of heavy clashes between government forces and protesters overnight. And the General People's Congress, that's the Libyan parliament, is over here. That was reportedly on fire on Monday morning. Let's zoom down to the army barracks. Now, of course, Gaddafi's son has warned that the armed forces would enforce security at any price, but we have been getting reports that some soldiers have defected and are supporting the protesters. And here's the airport. Also a scene of chaos. Foreign embassies and companies are getting ready to evacuate their staff. Well, earlier I spoke to Ahmed Jibril. He's a Libyan diplomat, and he told us the Justice Minister has stepped down and that Gaddafi is losing the support of the military as well.
I was speaking with the Minister of Justice just a few minutes ago, Mr. Mustafa AlJazeera, and I challenged the Libyan government to deny this. He told me personally, he has joined the supporters. He is trying to organize and put things in order in all cities. He's available, by the way. He can speak to you if you want. And also, I must say one more thing, please. Gaddafi's guards started shooting people in the second day, and they shot 2 people only. We had, at that day, in Al-Baida city only 300 protesters. When they killed 2 people, we had more than 5,000 in their funeral. And when they killed 14 people the next day, we have more than 50,000 the following day. This means that the more Gaddafi kills people, the more people get outrageous and they go to the streets. There's 2 high generals in the military. The Minister of Security, by the way, has joined too, Mr. Abdel Fattah Yunus. He is currently in Benghazi. He is with the people. Actually, he is one of the people starting fighting the mercenaries and the Gaddafi's guards. Mr. Mahdi al-Arbi from Al-Zawiya city in the western part of Libya also has joined the protesters, and he's working with the people to put things back to order after Gaddafi's departure.
Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has blamed the uprisings in the Arab world on American foreign policy. Speaking to Muslim scholars at a so-called unity conference in Tehran, he described the series of mass uprisings as an awakening movement. He also blamed what he called resentment toward the arrogant powers in the region.
The first effect of this awakening is expressing resentment towards the presence of the arrogant powers in the region. Americans and American policy try to get away from the repercussions of these great movements, which are ongoing in many Islamic countries through propaganda. But this is not possible because these movements are mainly against the presence of the arrogant powers.
Meanwhile, in a sign of growing dissent, a former senior government official has spoken out against the regime. Mohammed Bayou, who until a month ago was the chief government spokesman, said he hoped the government would change its speech to acknowledge the existence of an internal popular opposition. He also urged Gaddafi loyalists to enter into a dialogue with them and introduce thorough changes to the Libyan system. The comments are evidence of internal disagreements within Libya's ruling elite. Bayou went on to say the government was wrong to threaten violence against its opponents. And in another development, South Korea's foreign ministry says hundreds of Libyans have stormed a South Korean-operated construction site. At least 17 people were reportedly injured near Tripoli.
As with the Egyptian incident, South Korea's Land, Transport and Maritime Affairs Ministry is preparing to send special flights to the site if necessary. There are several South Korean construction camps in the Benghazi area. We have selected the largest and safest camp and chosen it as the safety shelter. We have taken measures so that South Korean people can all move and evacuate to the camp in case anything happens.
I'll have all the latest from Libya a little later on. Let's get some other news now. In Morocco, 5 charred bodies have been pulled from a bank after it was set ablaze during a day of national